Our grandparents have experienced lives full of love, heartbreak, adventure, and mystery. We often look up to them as sages of wisdom, but in order to become the people they are, they had to make mistakes and learn from the consequences. When buying her prom dress didn't exactly go as planned, Lisa Miller's grandmother came to her rescue. However, her grandmother had severely overlooked one detail. Once Lisa discovered it, their family would never be the same again. But before we start, smash the like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss our upcoming videos. Lisa Miller was a senior at a high school in Buffalo, New York. She was the oldest of three, and the family lived in a house with their mom and their tabby cat. They were a small family, with no cousins or extended relatives anywhere close by. Lisa's grandparents lived 2 hours away by plane, which made it difficult for them to get together. Lisa didn't know much about them, and had always thought of her grandmother as a secretive woman. She didn't realize how right she was until her prom night came around. As a senior in high school, Lisa had a lot on her plate, but despite it being months away, all she could think about was prom night. This was sure to be the biggest night of her young life, and she couldn't wait until it finally came. In preparation for her prom night, Lisa was already thinking through every aspect of the event. She was more than ready for the celebration of the end of her senior year, but no matter how diligently she tried to plan, things would soon fall apart. Lisa took her studies seriously. She was a hard worker, valuing studying and good grades. She was well liked around the school by students and faculty alike because of her positive attitude and work ethic. Prom night was going to be the perfect reward for 4 years of hard work. To get her through those days of senioritis and tedious schoolwork, she daydreamed about prom and the perfect dress she would have on. Nothing would ruin this night for her, or so she thought. Looking for a dress was sure to be difficult, but Lisa and her friends were determined to find perfect dresses before they sold out for the season. Since the girls were on the planning committee, they already knew what the theme would be and which type of dresses would fit the occasion. So, they headed into town to the few boutique shops they knew would have the right gowns. They wanted prom to be a night to remember. Lisa never expected that it would be a night she wished she could forget. The girls wandered around the town until they got to the dress shop they had been looking for. 3 of the prettiest dresses they had ever seen were displayed in the window. The high schoolers could barely contain their excitement as they rushed through the door. They were overwhelmed by the gowns surrounding them, and each of them ran to a different corner to look through the hundreds of dresses, hoping to find the perfect one. The last thing on their minds was the prices. The girls found themselves captivated. Amidst the variety of dresses catering to every imaginable occasion, their gaze fixated on the ball gowns reminiscent of princesses. Overwhelmed would be an understatement to describe their true emotions. Their minds were consumed with thoughts of which princess persona to embody at the dance. Their anticipation grew, driving them towards the fitting rooms, until one of Lisa's friends revealed the daunting price tags, shattering their excitement. The girls couldn't believe it. The dresses were beyond their budgets by hundreds of dollars. Even the cheapest ones were still at the high end of their price range. None of them had the kind of money one needed to purchase a dress from this store. They walked out the front door extremely disheartened. Now that their dream dresses were out of reach, their moods were ruined, and they couldn't bring themselves to go look in another store. However, while the rest of the girls discussed how to get home, Lisa was still trying to figure out how to buy the dress of her dreams. Lisa had stumbled upon the most beautiful dress in existence while the other girls had been looking for themselves. The dress was sleeveless with classy chiffon and a balloon skirt, with a tag that read Cinderella. It was love at first sight. As soon as Lisa saw it, there was no forgetting it. She could just see herself in a few months, walking into the prom in this princess dress that would blow all of her classmates away. Lisa took the dress off the rack, feeling the fabric and holding it up to see how it would fit her. She was overcome by such joy, and she knew this dress was made for her. Then, Lisa and the other girls heard Sandy's worried voice as she told them about the price of the dresses. Lisa held her breath as she checked the price tag on her dream dress, and was dejected to find out it was far more than she could afford. They let out sighs of disappointment and returned their dresses to the stands. Still, she couldn't let her dream die. While they headed home, Lisa's mind was racing as she considered her options for purchasing the dress. She knew that asking her mum to pay for the whole dress was out of the question. The dress was much more money than they could afford. Her family was already struggling financially, and her mum had taken up extra shifts at the hospital to make ends meet at home. Lisa didn't want to be selfish and ask her to give up hard-earned money just for a dress. As soon as she got home, Lisa raced upstairs to her room. She remembered that the piggy bank she had gotten when she was younger had some money in it. She had been throwing quarters inside for as long as she could remember. As she opened the bank and counted the money inside, she realized it wouldn't cover nearly as much as she'd hoped. She would have to come up with another idea. One thing was sure, she wasn't going to give up this dream. Lisa spent the next week thinking about the dress and trying to come up with ways to purchase it. Even though she went with her friends to see other dresses, none would ever be as good as the Cinderella gown. She even walked by the shop every day, looking at the dress and dreaming of it being in her closet. She had no clue that innocently pining after this dress would eventually lead to discovering a devastating family secret. Lisa eventually came to her mum one night, asking for her advice about how to purchase the dress. Her mum, who worked as a dedicated nurse at the local hospital, had trouble keeping her eyes open as her daughter talked to her. Luckily, in the morning, her mum was bright-eyed and ready with some options to help her daughter purchase the dress. Lisa knew she could count on her mum, who was always attentive to her kids, no matter how long her shifts were. Lisa's mum told her that she would help her pay for half of the dress as long as Lisa found a way to pay for the other half. With the addition of the money in her piggy bank, the feat of coming up with the money seemed a lot more feasible. Now she just had to find a job for a couple of months to supplement the other half of the money, which her mum had the solution to as well. A cashier position had opened up at the bakery that Lisa's mum's friend owned in town. Lisa knew the bakery well, having accompanied her mum every weekend to buy some baked goods. Since she already had some experience as a cashier, Lisa knew this was the perfect job for her. So, they called the bakery owner and secured a job for Lisa immediately. She was excited. It would take a few months, but Lisa knew the dress would be hers. For 3 months, Lisa stayed constantly busy. Every day after school, she rushed to the bakery to run the counter until close, and then waited for her mum to pick her up and take her home between shifts. The money she made was slowly piling up, and Lisa felt proud that it was coming from her own efforts. In no time at all, she'd soon walk into the dress shop and buy the beautiful blue gown. One night, Lisa was counting the dollars she had made from her shift that night and realized she had done it. After 5 months, she had finally made enough to pay for her half of the dress. She and her mum went to the dress shop the very next day to purchase it. As Lisa stood in the dress, Lisa, her mum, and the shop owner all agreed she had made the right choice. While it took a while, Lisa had worked hard and gotten rewarded for it. She was ecstatic, but she had no idea how short-lived her happiness would be. A few days after the dress was purchased, Lisa's mum was at work, and the 3 siblings were meant to clean the house and complete their chores. During a quick break between mopping and laundry, Lisa went into her room to admire the dress. When she grabbed it, she hadn't realized she had something on her hands, and she had smeared it all over the dress. Now the dress was stained. She started to freak out, thinking her mum would be upset with her for being so careless. So, without even thinking, she threw it into the washer. She could only hope that the stain would come out, or she was going to have to figure out a way to cover it up. The washing machine beeped, indicating that the load had finished. She took the dress out of the machine, hoping to hang it and let it air dry, but as soon as she saw it, she let out a scream. What on earth had she done? Regret filled Lisa as she took in the damage that the wash had done. The dress was a wrinkled mess, some seams had come apart, and the skirt of the dress looked wilted and destroyed. When she checked the tag inside the dress, her heart sank further. The tag said to hand wash it in cold water, not on a hot load in the machine. Lisa couldn't believe she had destroyed the dress she had worked so hard for. What was she going to do? Lisa sank to the floor, clearly in shock at what she had done. She barely registered her sibling calling her mum to tell her the situation. Her mum was ending her shift and rushed home quickly, where she found Lisa staring blankly at the wall in front of her, grasping the destroyed dress. Lisa's mum soothed her as she took the dress out of her hands, but she couldn't stop the small gasp that left her lips when she held it up to look closer. When Lisa's mom asked what happened, she couldn't answer through her sobs. She couldn't believe she had destroyed the dress she and her mum had worked tirelessly for, and prom was only a week away. Lisa's mum knew the shop wouldn't fix this dress cheaply. In fact, it would probably cost close to the price of the dress itself with this much damage. She thought through all of her options, and then realized there might in fact be someone who could help fix this catastrophe. Lisa stayed hunched over as her mum dialed someone's number. She was surprised to hear her grandma Magnolia's voice on the other end. Her grandmother had been a seamstress back in the day, and her mum called her to get insight as to what to do. When Lisa held up the dress for her grandmother to see on video chat, she was hoping she would have a few easy tips and tricks to get the dress back to its pristine state. But what her grandma had for her was even better. Lisa and her mum looked at each other as Magnolia went off the screen for a few minutes. When she returned, she had in her hands a dusty dress bag and pulled out a pristine blue chiffon dress with a big ballooning skirt. It looked almost identical to the dress Lisa herself had just purchased. Magnolia had worn the dress on her own prom night. Lisa couldn't believe that she had picked out the same dress her own grandmother wore 50 years earlier. Why didn't she ask her grandmother about a dress in the first place? Her grandma agreed to take the first flight out to come and see her granddaughter and deliver the dress. Lisa couldn't wait to see her and try the beautiful dress. However, unbeknownst to her grandma, there was a hidden secret accompanying the dress that Lisa would soon discover. The next few days were spent preparing the dress, changing the measurements, and buying the accessories to make Lisa look like $1,000,000. When prom night finally came, Lisa stood in front of her mum and grandmother, and they all admired the handiwork that had made her prom look possible. Lisa felt beautiful and was happy to be wearing a piece of her grandma. She and her date walked into the beautifully decorated room, brightly lit with colorful lights. Lisa knew this would be a night to remember. It was everything Lisa hoped it would be. The room looked amazing, as did her date and her friends. Lisa couldn't have been happier, and when her date led her to the center of the dance floor, she felt like nothing could ruin this moment. But then, something pricked her thigh. Lisa excused herself to the bathroom to look at the inside of her dress. Lisa bunched up the skirt of the dress and situated herself to see what was under the fabric. She thought it would be a stray pin her grandma had forgotten to take out, but instead, she saw a small envelope half stitched into the skirt and half poking out. She pulled it out, feeling something heavy in the small envelope, and opened it. A beautiful ring popped out and rolled on the floor. Lisa's eyes followed it and then turned slowly to the note inside that read, "Magnolia, will you marry me? Henry Pritchett." Lisa gasped. Henry Pritchett was not her grandfather's name. So, who was the mystery man sending her grandmother love notes with a decades-old proposal? Her grandmother had never mentioned a Henry Pritchett. Could it have been Magnolia's first love before she married Albert? She knew her grandmother loved her grandfather, so Lisa decided to keep this discovery her little secret. She didn't have the heart to tell her grandmother she found the letter from a long-lost admirer. Like many teens, Lisa had big plans for what felt like the most important night of her high school career. When her dress was destroyed, her grandmother came to her rescue with her very own prom dress. But after 50 years, her grandmother had forgotten the devastating secret she had sewn into the seam of the dress, and now Lisa had discovered it. Although it took a dress getting destroyed in the washer, Lisa and Magnolia's relationship became stronger, and Lisa knew that her grandma would always be there for her, no matter the distance or situation. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell, so you never miss amazing tales like this one.